Didn't you think, though, when you watch like the old Indiana Jones movies, you watch like Temple of Doom and The Last Crusade, were you not watching those movies thinking, these would be so much better if Indiana Jones was 75 years old? So far away, Lucas, and lovely audience at home, same question. What is your favourite montage?
I mentioned it not long ago. I really like the montage where like Deku is training to essentially get All Might's, one for all ability.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you like montages, Lucas, because today we're talking about a film for which a quantifiable percentage of the runtime is montage. Rocky IV.
So, do you have any idea, like, how much of the movie is just montage?
I don't know off the top of my head, but I'm going to guess that it is at least 10% montage. And I'll look up the figure and put the fact bar on screen right now so people know what percentage of Rocky IV is just montage. But I'm aware that this film has, like, 3 separate montage sequences.
Oh my god. And, like, you sent me a montage to watch, and that one alone was 9 minutes
9 minutes,
long.
Yeah. Not to mention the boxing matches themselves technically qualify as montage because after like the first round or so, they go into montage mode to truncate most of the action.
Mm-hmm. Which, that's kind of the thing you're there for, but oh well. But like, of all films to be able to get away with being mostly montage, it is Rocky because like when people say the word montage, even though I'm not that familiar with Rocky, the first thing that comes to my head is the Rocky training montage.
Well, first, though, people are probably wondering, Karl, you're wearing a Christmas jumper and talking about Rocky IV. What's the connection there? The connection is snow. I wanted to talk about a movie that has a lot of snow in it that I'm nostalgic for, because I think of Christmas as being about 2 things. It being chilly and getting cozy, and nostalgia.
Which, it's always funny, because we don't actually get much snow around Christmas over here.
We mostly get snow around, like, February time in the UK. But, Christmas is synonymous with snow. And for anyone who's not familiar with the format of Wiki Weekends, it's a series where I, your host for this episode, Karl Smallwood, or, when they happen to be presenting a video, my good friend Lucas Holland.
Hello there.
Scour the lengths and breadths of the internet for a wiki on a subject you're interested in and bring it forward for discussion. So, Lucas, you're not too familiar with Rocky IV. You're not like me, you're not a rockhead. But you are familiar with Rocky as a concept, as a franchise, as a series.
Yeah, and the one thing that I think I know about Rocky IV, I think it's 4, is that this is the one that ends on, like, the freeze frame, right?
Most of them end on freeze frames, yeah. That's, like, kind of like the Rocky thing of, like, most Rocky films end on the freeze frame. Like, the first one is, like, Rocky just screaming, like, I did it, Adrian, puts his fist into the air. Like, he doesn't win, but he's the people's champion. He went the distance.
Well, this is the one where it's, like, a ambiguous ending where they're both swinging at each other and it just freeze frames 3. Or something?
That's Rocky 3.
Oh, that's 3.
That's Rocky 3, yes. So that's Rocky 3 when he has the fabled rematch with Apollo Creed, because the first Rocky movie, it's Rocky versus Apollo Creed, the Count of Monte Fisto.
Apollo Creed is doing an imitation of George Washington.
Apollo Creed wins on paper, but everyone's like, well, Rocky's this bum from Philadelphia, and he went the distance with the heavyweight champ. Rocky is the people's champ. Like, a lot of people think that like Rocky probably would have won if the fight would have gone for another 10 seconds. In the second movie, Apollo Creed arranges a rematch to prove decisively that he is better than Rocky.
You think I beat him the last time? Do you? You got the decision. Man, I won, but I didn't beat him.
Rocky wins. Rocky becomes the heavyweight champ. In number 3, Rocky and Apollo Creed become friends. Creed helps Rocky train because he loses his edge, the eye of the tiger, and at the end of that film, that's probably what you're thinking of, is where Rocky and Apollo Creed have a sparring match, the results of which we don't know.
Maybe I went here with the wrong guy.
Come on, watch yourself. Ready?
And I love that ending, and I don't like how in Creed, Rocky tells you who won.
Oh, no.
Because I always like the idea that that's a match between those 2 men. That is like, a battle between 2 men, and we don't need to know who won. We just need to know that those 2 men went into that ring and decided who was better. In Creed, Rocky admits to like Michael B. Jordan, Apollo Creed's son, Adonis, that your dad won.
Since we're pretty much like family, who won the third fight?
You did.
again, not that familiar with Rocky. I mainly know it from seeing some of the montages.
Yes.
But, yeah, it's wild to me that, like, you would just end a movie on, like, a freeze frame of, like, we don't know. And
it's an ambiguous ending. I like the
that.
ambiguous ending. Plus, as well, I like thematically. I said it's Rocky versus Apollo. It's like, two men in the ring. There's no one else around. It's not for a crowd. It's not, like, for an audience. It's for them, so that they know. I like that we, the audience, also aren't privy to the information about who won. I said at least until Creed, where Rocky's like, your dad was better than me.
I also think that ending kind of is symbolic of the fact that these men are probably going to be, continually fighting one another and improving.
It's the Goku and Vegeta, right? After a certain point, they're not fighting to see who's better. They're fighting because they enjoy watching the other improve.
To then just throw that all away in Creed is a bit like, fuck you. But,
bringing it back to Rocky IV. So Rocky IV is a 1985 American sports drama film starring, written and directed by Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, it's actually kind of funny because, speaking of Stallone, I not long ago watched, like, First Blood for the first time. I think that also essentially has, like, a training montage of him being like, I'm going to go around and just, like, trap this entire forest up.
I'd never really considered that, but it does have the montage of Rambo setting up the traps in the woods. Like, it has the moment, like, it shows him, like, preparing for the ambush that he's going to do on the cops. And that's, like, another great acting performance from Stallone. Because, like, Stallone kind of became typecast as, like, an action guy. And admittedly, he did do a lot of action movies, but he's a really good actor and a good writer and director.
I could have killed them all. I could have killed you. In town, you're the law. Out here, it's me. Don't push it.
But we talked about First Blood, of, like, the First Blood, Rambo kills one person by accident. And the film isn't about Rambo in the woods killing people or, like, being a badass. It's about just this mentally scarred human who just is trying desperately to find somewhere they belong and keeps getting rejected by society.
Don't end it like this. Back there, I can fly a gunship. I can drive a tank. I was in charge of $1 million equipment. Back here, I can't even hold a job. Fucking guys! Ah! Oh, God.
And then, obviously, it became Rambo in the woods killing people.
Yeah, every now and then I, of course, try to, like, do, like, a monthly vote over on our Patreon to try and catch up with classic action movies, but I've not seen many of them. And I was really thrown back by his performance in First Blood, because I mainly know him as, like, schlocky action dude that can't act. But then
he can act. That's the thing. He's a really good actor.
It's over, Johnny. It's over. Nothing is over. Nothing. You just don't turn it off. It wasn't my war.
There's some really affecting performance out of him in First Blood, of, like, especially at the end when he's talking about the fact that, hey, essentially, I am a broken man that needs help.
Yes.
Like,
it's really harrowing, yeah. Like the acting at the end of the film, where it's like him basically admitting, I'm a PTSD-riddled veteran and there's nowhere I belong, and he's talking about how, like, all my friends are dead. What do I do? Which is why it's so interesting to watch First Blood, knowing what the Rambo franchise became.
And knowing what Sylvester Stallone's career became as well.
Well, that's the thing, he's kind of gone back to more, like, dramatic roles. Like, he's in, like, King of Tulsa, which has been on, like, my list for a while.
Any flammable liquids or firearms?
In the box? Nah.
And the Rocky franchise is similar, where the first Rocky movie is a drama movie. Like, it's obviously about boxing, but boxing is a really small part of that movie. It's mostly about just this down-on-his-luck dude who wants a chance.
Rocky, it's the chance of a lifetime. You can't pass it by. What do you say?
Yeah,
That's
it's
the story.
A way more personal story than people may expect out of a boxing film.
Yeah, and then you fast forward to Rocky 4, and Rocky is basically fucking Superman, and he's beating up Russian, like, Terminator in Russia, wearing, like, American flag shorts.
You cut him! You hurt him! You see? You see? He's not a machine! He's a man!
At least that training montage that you sent me is still very emblematic of, like, the original Rocky training montage of, like, hey, I'm just a guy trying my best to work out, right?
Yeah, which is something that, like, repeatedly comes up in all the Rocky movies, where, I think it's Rocky 3, where they address this, of, in Rocky 3, it's like, oh, Rocky's been the world champion for, like, a couple of years. And he's kind of, like, you know, got a bit fat on the throne, he's kind of stopped trying, he's enjoyed his celebrity, he's lost his edge. And he's, like, taking part in, like, exhibition matches. That's, like, the movie where, like, he gets in a boxing exhibition match against Hulk Hogan, playing a character called Thunder Lips, where it just ends with, like, Rocky taking his gloves off, knocking out Hulk Hogan and throwing him out of the ring. And you have, like, Apollo Creed being like, look, you've lost it. You need to recapture that fighting spirit, the eye of the tiger, if you want to be taken seriously as a boxer.
Now, when we fought, you had that eye of the tiger, man, the edge. And now you got to get it back. And the way to get it back is to go back to the beginning. You know what I mean?
You know, when you said that, what really upset me in my own head is that, you know, if there was a modern Rocky film with Sylvester Stallone in it, it would have been that he did a fight with Jake Paul.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably. Bring it back to Rocky 4 now. So the development for the fourth Rocky film began soon after the success of Rocky 3, with principal photography beginning in 1984, with filming locations including Philadelphia, of course, that's where the Italian Stallion is originally from, Wyoming and Vancouver. Rocky 4 was Lundgren's American film debut, and Stallone's last directorial effort until Rocky Balboa in 2006. This is the last film that Stallone directed for like 30 years.
Was this Dolph Lundgren's actual, like, movie debut?
American debut, yes.
You will go.
I just assumed that, they got kind of, like, big action star Dolph Lundgren in for that role.
Well, one of the reasons they got him is because he was a complete unknown, and his like sheer physicality. Because, obviously, it's really difficult after, like, 3 straight movies of Rocky beating everybody. Like, well, who's going to be a credible threat to Rocky at this point? He's basically fucking Superman. Well, let's bring in a dude who's basically the Terminator.
As you can see, Drago averages 1,850 pounds. So the results quite obvious.
And what results are those?
Whatever he hits, he destroys.
And just an idea, Lucas, of how fucking just ridiculous Dolph Lundgren in his prime was. During the film, Stallone and Lundgren sparred for real to capture authentic-looking footage for the fight scenes, during which Stallone was punched by Lundgren and sent to intensive care.
Dolph Lundgren put me in the hospital for 9 days. 9 days.
That was Rocky 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, that. I mean, Stallone's not a little guy.
Well, he's a big dude. He's also a very tough guy. Like, he notably, during the training montage for the first Rocky movie, he's punching the meat, where he's beating his meat.
Is this a common training method? I mean, do other fighters pound raw meat?
No, I think I invented it.
Would you give us a demonstration?
Like, to this day, like, Stallone talks about how the knuckles on one of his hands are completely flat from filming that scene. Because he punched the meat so hard, he crushed his own knuckles, and they set completely flat. He also broke his neck during the recording of one of the Expendables movies, and continued filming the scene. He's a tough guy.
God.
And, like, keep in mind, this is, like, 80s. Like, Stallone.
When he, like, prime Stallone.
Stallone. He was in, like, probably the best shape of his life. He's filming a Rocky movie, which has, like, you know, a lot of shirtless scenes. The story goes that, like, Lundgren, being, like, you know, a relative unknown in Hollywood, didn't want to injure Sylvester Stallone or Carl Weathers. And the story goes that he and Carl Weathers almost came to, like, blows in real life, because Carl Weathers is similarly saying, come on, you can hit me a bit harder than that if you like. Come on, we need to capture some realistic-looking punches for the movie. Lundgren threw a punch, hit Carl Weathers, supposedly knocked him clean into the air across the ring.
He dies. He dies.
Lundgren was very, very hesitant to engage in any sparring after that. Stallone kept telling him, "Oh, it's fine. I'm a big guy. I can take it. Just hit me for real. It's not gonna hurt me." Lundgren, according to industry legend that Stallone himself has confirmed, asked Stallone, "Are you sure you want me to punch you for real?" Stallone's like, "Sure. What's the worst you could do?" Lundgren walked over when the bell rang, punched Stallone square in the chest, and sent him straight to the hospital.
I knew I was in trouble when I showed up and nuns met you.
That's not a good sign.
It was an accident. It was
I can imagine that it's not ideal, to be absolutely fucked up by your co-star. But when, Carl Weathers is like, "You need to hit me for real," you can't get pissed off when he hits you for real.
Yeah, and I believe the detail about the Carl Weathers Lundgren sparring match where they were asked to fight for real is that Carl Weathers was lifted into the air by Lundgren's blows. And the specific detail about when he sparred with Stallone is that, as I said, Lundgren walked over, punched him square in the chest. Stallone woke up in the hospital a day later, asked what happened, said, "Oh, you collapsed in the ring." And when the doctor came in to explain to Stallone what happened, he asked, "Well, what's wrong with you?" He's like, "Well, you passed out because you were hit with so much force. Your heart connected with your chest and just stopped beating for a second, which caused you to pass out."
an uppercut caught the ribs, which hit the heart against the rib cage, and it's a thing called a pericardial sac. He said you usually get this in head-on collisions. I said, well, close.
And according to Stallone, insurance for the movie wouldn't pay out because they refused to believe that the injuries he had were caused by a punch. And they assumed that he got in a car crash or something offset, so they didn't want to pay out. And what Stallone had to do is get the footage, the unedited footage of the sparring match where he got knocked on his ass, and sent that to the insurance company and just include a note saying, yeah, that guy, that's a truck.
And
these injuries are the kind that people normally have when they're hit by a car. And Stallone's like, I did get hit by a car, called Dolph Lundgren.
You've got to kind of feel a little bit bad on Dolph's behalf.
He nearly killed two of the main actors in the film. In a film where one of the plot points is that he kills Carl Weathers. He kills Apollo Creed.
Right, and that's the thing as well. He's literally being asked by his co-stars, please hit me with what you've got. And when he does, just causes shit. And it's it's not his fault that his co-stars are egging him on to punch them.
And they didn't realise how tough he actually was, because Dolph Lundgren is world champion kickboxer or something like that. Also, he's almost a foot taller than both Carl Weathers and Sylvester Stallone. I believe he's 6'6", 6'7", or something like that.
They're both big, but he's bigger. He really is. Yeah.
And that's an element of the film that's explored of how the fuck is Rocky supposed to beat this Russian Ubermensch.
Mm-hmm.
And you see that in the montage I asked you to watch, right? Of just all the mechanical and electrical equipment around him measuring his punching power and specifically engineering him into the ultimate boxer. It's very reminiscent of how you build a fucking robot. It feels very deliberate that so much of Drago's strength and boxing capabilities comes from just technology.
Mm-hmm. And you kind of see it in, especially Olympics, where obviously everything's recorded via world records and things like that, but it just keeps getting the skill gap keeps increasing over the years because technology gets better at training people and we have more information and better equipment available.
More
and
steroids,
more and more steroids. Of course the records keep getting beaten because everyone just got access to better equipment,
better
training.
Nutrition, better knowledge. This year I wrote a script for today. I found out, trying to answer the question of, so how tough is Rocky as presented in the Rocky movies? And he's basically fucking superhuman. To the point where it's actually commented on in the film that Rocky is next to unbeatable. For example, a very iconic line from Rocky IV is where Ivan Drago, who up to that point has shown no weakness whatsoever, he's not even flinched. When he beats up Apollo Creed, dude doesn't even break a sweat. He kills Apollo Creed in the ring, and it's not even it's not even a warm up for him. The first round with Rocky, He hits Rocky and walks back to his corner and is like, he's made of iron. It's like punching solid iron. I can't hurt him.
Which is very funny considering the story that you've just told me of. Like, actually, in real life, he just sent the guy straight to
with a single punch, yeah. In real life, like, just Ivan Drago's like, whoop! Just knocked Stallone like the fuck out. He didn't even punch him there, punch him in the chest. Punched him so hard in the chest, his own heart's like, I'm done. Fucking done.
Like, again, he must have been like, okay, I won't punch him in the head because like, I might give him a concussion.
Also, I might like, give him a black eye or an injury that's going to show up on camera.
Yeah. Still just sent the guy to hospital instead.
And while I was researching that script, I was like looking at the numbers as presented in the film and comparing them to real life. It's like, Ivan Drago's just jab is as strong as like Vladimir Klitschko's like fucking haymaker or Iron Mike's haymaker like in his prime.
I'm gonna take a punch from Mike Tyson. Whenever you're ready. Oh. Okay.
And then if you watch the fight scene, Ivan Drago punches Rocky like 100 fucking times in the head, and he's just fine.
It's kind of insane. I obviously it's movies, right?
It's movies, and that's the thing of like, that's what I was trying to explore in the article of like how realistic is it, and it's the conclusion that I made is Rocky is closer to Captain America than any boxer in our world.
I was going to compare him to Homer Simpson in that boxing episode where he can just keep taking the punches.
Yeah, but even in that episode, like when he fights like the Mike Tyson stand-in, I think Drederick Tatum, he gets punched by like Drederick Tatum and gets nearly knocked the fuck out. So even like Homer Simpson's like near invulnerability to like concussion is tested by that. There is never anybody in any Rocky movie that ever hurts Rocky with a punch, save for I think in Rocky 3, Clubber Lang. Beats him because he's not trained and he's really upset because his trainer just died. So he's not got his heart in the fight. But when Rocky is in fucking Rocky mode, he's unbeatable.
Well, that's kind of the point, right? Is that he's not necessarily the best boxer in the world, but he's got the heart of a hero kind of thing.
Yeah, he's got the eye of a tiger. He's got the spirit of a warrior.
True. Yeah.
And that's something that Apollo Creed addresses. Oh, look, you were slow. Your heart wasn't in it. Your heart needs to be in it. And like in Balboa, which is a really, really, really great film. It goes back to like the series' roots, where it's more a drama than it is like a sports movie. And the boxing, while good, is not the main part of the film. But during that film, like the impetus for the plot is that, hey, there's this, like the current heavyweight champ, Mason the Line Dixon, hasn't really been challenged in any of his fights. So what we did is we tasked like some computer analysts to create a theoretical bout between Rocky Balboa in his prime and Mason Dixon. And our analysts concluded that Rocky would win.
Believe it. Oh, a murderous right hook. And Dixon is out on his feet. He is out cold.
And Mason sees this and like, no, I beat Rocky. He was good, but he's from a different era. Rocky sees it and goes, okay, let's see if I've still got it. And at 60 years old, gets his boxing license back and just trains. And the training montage for that film is fucking fantastic. Because his trainer says, look, Rocky, you've got no speed. You've got, like, arthritis. You've got calcium deposits in all your joints. This dude is going to dance around you. So all we can really rely on is good old-fashioned blunt force trauma.
Heavy-duty, cast-iron, pile-driving punches that will have to hurt so much they'll rattle his ancestors. Every time you hit him with his shot, it's got to feel like he tried kissing the express train.
Just get real good with one good punch.
Yeah, and he just says to him, like, look, you've got no speed, your footwork's non-existent, but no one can hit harder than you, and if all we do is min-max into punching really fucking hard, you might actually beat this dude despite the fact he's like 30 years younger than you and a current heavyweight champion of the world.
Not like I'm invested in the franchise at all, but that was the one movie where I was like, oh, I've heard it's a good movie still.
It's a good movie,
but like, bringing the, like, as you say, 60-year-old Stallone back into being... No, Rocky could totally be a fighter in his prime.
Well, that's the thing. He doesn't win. But it's similar to the first movie where he goes the distance to prove to himself that he's got the heart of a fighter and that he's still got it. And you can conclude from the fact that a 60-year-old Rocky goes the distance and knocks Mason down just through sheer, as mentioned, blunt force trauma.
Dixon with brutal left-hand hand there. Go after him! This is Rocky's best chance right here. The champ obviously...
Like, this is Rocky 30 years removed from his prime, when all he's got is his punching power. In his prime, when he had his punching power, which would have been even better in his prime, plus his speed, the fight would have been 30 seconds long and consisted of Rocky walking across the ring and punching Mason's head off.
I think a better route was definitely, like, the way that they did Creed, of, like, Rocky comes back as, like, the trainer, and he's not necessarily the boxer. Like, we don't need to be the Expendables, where it's, like, a bunch of 60-odd-year-old dudes being like, we're totally still the action stars, right?
Yeah, but I do appreciate that it was Stallone's return to directing, and that he had the self-awareness to not write his character winning. Just go in the distance.
At least did that, of, like, the best he can clearly do is just, like, surviving the fight.
And in that vein, Lucas, are there any movies or series you can think of where, like, you know, a character comes out of retirement, fight, you know, one last mission, one last fight? You mentioned, like, the Expendables and stuff.
What the fuck was that Indiana Jones movie?
Oh, man. Like, didn't you think, though, when you watched, like, the old Indiana Jones movies, you watched, like, Temple of Doom and The Last Crusade, were you not watching those movies thinking, these would be so much better if Indiana Jones was 75 years old? It does happen to me when I do my occasional rewatch of those original Indiana Jones movies. Like, I'm watching, like, well, the action's good, like, the music's fun, the locations are really interesting, but it would be better if Indy was 70 years old.
Yeah, like, at least they had the foresight to kind of just kill off Han Solo in movie 1 of the, like, sequel trilogy, and just be like, we're bringing him back for the sake of Han Solo, but dude's done. And, like, that's not disparaging, just let him rest.
Let him rest, yeah, he's done.
He's made enough money, he's made enough impact on pop media, like, or pop culture, that, like, yeah, he doesn't need to come back for a 5th Indiana Jones film. They tried to make him not the protagonist of the 4th one for a bit.
Yeah, and then it was Shia LaBeouf they try to make Shia LaBeouf like the next Indy, and that was really poorly received. So poorly received in, like, Dial of Destiny, they just have a line from Indy of, like, yeah, my son died in the war. They just kill off Shia LaBeouf off screen.
And I cannot think of, like, a franchise that is worse for just bringing back someone as old as that Dial of Destiny movie. Like, that must be the prime example of let it go.
You know, and bring it back to the question I asked Lucas of, like, someone coming out of retirement for, like, one last, like, you know, heroic moment. I think it's a really specific pull, but there is, like, a Dragon Ball, like, side story where it's, like, I think, like, Vegeta's brother turns up, the one where Tarballs turns up.
Oh, Tarballs, yeah.
And the villain that's in that, like, short comes to Earth, and basically all the Z fighters are having a party, and all the Z fighters, like, have one moment of the fight. And during that fight, it's revealed that Yamcha still wears his Turtle School, like, training uniform under his outfit. And he does, like, a Wolfang fist. Like, yeah, Yamcha's still got it. And as a firm proponent of the fact Yamcha's fucking cool, it was, even though it's, like, non-canon and it's a side story that no one talks about, it was nice for them to acknowledge at least that Yamcha is one of the strongest human beings on planet Earth.
He is. And it really annoys me, the treatment he got over the years, because Yamcha in original Dragon Ball is brought in as, like, the cool guy fuckboy.
I think he's the first character to throw a ki blast as well.
Potentially.
Yeah, he's one of the earliest characters to, like, utilise ki rather than straight up martial arts.
But he was, like, the cool lone wanderer guy.
The Wolf of the Gale.
With him,
Fuck yeah. Bandit of the Wilds. And also, as well, as mentioned, he is literally one of the physically strongest beings in the entire universe. And he's treated like a joke because the other 9 strongest beings just so happen to be his best friends.
I was going to say, he's in, like, the top 15 in the universe and is treated like a joke. And he just never gets enough justice.
It's like during, like, the Tournament of Power arc where, okay, they literally go to hell and get a ringer in the form of Frieza, like a natural prodigy of his race with infinite potential. Sure, put him on your team if it's, like, a literal fight for universal survival. But Yamcha was this close to being picked.
Hey, fellas! Sorry to keep you waiting.
Whoa, Yamcha! We'll win for sure now that you're here!
Stand back, I got this.
This close.
It really annoys me. It really gets me as like somebody that's actually watched all of Dragon Ball. Like, Yamcha was so cool. That was his like literal design purpose, was to be the cool guy.
Yeah. Also, as I said, he is literally one of the strongest beings in the entire universe. It's just not his fault that the main character of the story and all of his friends are also the strongest beings in the universe.
All of a sudden, they suddenly made it a sci-fi story and made it aliens, and it's like, well, Yamcha get fucked, I guess.
Bring it back to Rocky IV, Lucas. There is a couple of things mentioned on the wiki that I wasn't familiar with. One is that there is a director's cut of Rocky released in the last few years that adds a couple of extra minutes and is presented in a new aspect ratio. And supposedly, that makes the film a lot more somber, according to reviews. So I will try and track down some of those deleted scenes or the things that were added back in. Apparently they add some like much needed like breathing room and drama to the story, which is otherwise basically just fucking Superman. It might as well be a superhero movie.
Well, they were talking to the boxing commission about me and this guy putting on this exhibition, you know.
Yeah. What'd you say?
I said, I don't know.
Say, what'd you say?
Say?
Yeah, what'd you say?
I said, I don't know.
Do you have any details on like the new aspect ratio? I'm curious as to like what they would change it to.
Yeah, well, I have it here. It mentions that the new cut is presented in the aspect ratio of 239:1 compared to the original 185:1. I'm not sure exactly what that is, and for videos like this, we tend to just crop everything to 16:9, but when I grab the clips, I'll try and present it in the original aspect ratio, because presumably it does add some much-needed literal breathing room for the shots.
Either fighter ready to throw a punch. A left jab there, a left jab. Once again, by 3. Double up the jab. A slip by 3.
And it mentions here that some of the stuff that was added included a scene of the infamous robot owned by the character Paulie, which is one of like the most infamous Rocky moments. Like, oh, this is the moment this series went off the fucking rails, because Rocky's like deadbeat asshole brother has a fucking robot butler.
They have a robot butler.
They never talk about it because it's one of those. I said it's basically a superhero movie. Oh, sorry. It mentions here that Stallone cut all of those scenes from the movie, stating that robot is going to the junkyard forever. No more robot.
I know that like movies in the 80s like to be a bit weird or mild with it, but like a robot butler is such an out there thing for a fucking Rocky movie.
Exactly, and apparently it was a big part of the original movie because it mentions that Stallone's autistic son liked it. So Stallone like just used his creative clout to have its role in the movie beefed up. But when obviously he's going back and looking at it, he's like, no, this is part of his legacy. He's like, okay, let's maybe like take away the sillier elements of this story because it does kind of diminish the overall quality of the movie. And other things that were cut included, something I don't agree with this cut. They cut out numerous scenes of Ivan Drago talking to his wife. I don't like that. I like the relationship between his wife because something that's addressed in Creed, or Creed 2, where Ivan Drago comes back, is that Ivan Drago, after losing to Rocky, basically became a pariah in Russia, and his wife left him.
Что мы здесь делаем? Стран будущее. Я даже не знаю эту женщину. Она нам чужая. Виктор. Она бросила тебя. Они все отвернулись от тебя. Стыдили тебя. Я проиграл.
The dude lost one fight.
But he was like being touted as like, you know, he's the hero of Russia, and he got beaten on his home turf by a guy wearing American flag shorts.
But still, for his wife to leave him, that's rough.
I don't like the idea of cutting those scenes, but I can imagine that by cutting them, it makes Drago a more intimidating opponent, an antagonist that basically doesn't have any human connection to anybody. It better sells him as this like unfeeling, just like robotic punching machine.
You were saying when they're billing him as almost a Terminator-like character, that dehumanizing that character probably is for the better. Like, you don't really want to give the villain in that specific kind of scenario too much of like backstory and humanization. Yeah,
But still, I like those scenes, because especially there's a really great scene towards the end where, like, when Drago loses. I like the part where, like, Rocky beats him. And, like, during the fight where, like, Drago realizes that Rocky is a worthy opponent, throughout the fight, like, he starts, like, fucking pushing his trains. Like, he literally grabs one of his trains and throws him away. He's like, no, I'm not fighting for you, I'm fighting for myself. I will beat this man. And I think it's a great humanizing moment for Drago as a character, that I've always read it as Drago realizing, well, how did this man beat me? I had every advantage possible. Oh, he had people who loved and cared for him. I didn't. I had people who saw me as a tool.
I don't mind that when it's the public or his team, but when it's his wife and child...
His wife only saw him in terms of what he could provide for her, like politically, socially, and as the moment he no longer has that value, she cast him aside. Whereas, like, Rocky's wife is there for him through thick and thin.
That's so harsh.
It is, and I like that scene. It's a shame they cut out the scenes of, like, Drago and his wife. It also mentions that they re-edited in some of the original musical themes from previous films, because Bill Conti, who did the soundtrack for the first couple of movies, couldn't come back because he was too busy doing the Karate Kid. So it says they edited back in some of those musical themes to add consistency for the quadrilogy. It also mentions that they toned down some of the sound effects on the punching to make it sound more realistic.
This punch has always bothered me. This, to the naked eye, is the most egregious angle you can have, which is profile. Because there's no way you can fake it. You can only fake it when it's head on, like this. Because you have no depth perspective. We can't have any of this. None of the recut. No.
And you know what? I'd be interested in watching that version of the movie, so I might go buy myself that and watch it over Christmas. Maybe you'll see us talk about it next year, but in the meantime, everyone at home, let us know, like, the movies that you like to watch around Christmas time, or movies that make you think of the Christmas winter period, like movies that have that really cold feeling to them, that when you're watching, you want to get cozy, snuggle up, grab yourself a snack or a beverage, and just sit down and feel nostalgic. But otherwise, thank you all for watching. Thank you to my good friend Lucas for joining me.
Hell yeah.
And we'll see you all next time.
So, Karl, what a wiki page we've just gone through, and I was exhilarated by the conversation we've just had.
Yeah, I very much enjoyed our discussion of Insert Topic Here.
Insert Topic Here was fantastic, yes.
But for anyone still watching the video up to this point, first of all, thank you for supporting the content. It's very much appreciated. You watching to this point is very good for our analytics, so well done you. But also, this is the part of the video where myself and Lucas shout out our supporters over on our Patreon, or our PPs, as we like to call them.
Well, there are big PPs, Karl.
You are correct, Lucas. The size of their PPs is very intimidating.
I don't like this, but I guess at this point it should become the branding. Karl made this joke, and we live with it forever.
Exactly, yeah. Do you know what? That's the origin of all the content we've worked on, Lucas. I made a bad joke, we're fucking rolling with it.
We are rolling with it.
Rolling around at the speed of sound.
I apologise if you don't like being called a big PP, but that's what we've landed on, apparently.
And if you don't like being called a big PP, you can choose exactly how we refer to you, because a fun game we have between us and our supporters over on our Patreon is them trying to fuck us over by coming up with the most weird, obscure, or difficult to pronounce name they can for us to shout out. For example, Lucas, who have we got to give a shout out to first?
Well, we have to give a shout out to the Burning Dragon, who gave us Morse code to interpret.
And I'm going to be honest, the creativity being displayed by our audience is frightening. And I'm not sure how one would verbalize Morse code. I guess like ... dash ... But that's going to get real old real fast. So we popped the Morse code into a translator, and it told us that it said, please pay to use this Morse code translator. So we popped it into a free one, and it said, hey, Karl and Lucas love the content, which is a great name. I like that name.
It's a very, very nice name for us to deal with, right? Of like, compared to what we may deal with later down the line, it's a very forgiving one, even though it was in, I want to say not even a language, just a symbolism that we did not know off the top
As
of
I
our
said,
heads.
I'm waiting for someone to like track down like ancient Sanskrit.
I'm waiting for the moment that happens, and then Karl opens up the shout-outs with, I can't believe somebody did this.
I can't believe you've done this. But Lucas, who do we have to shout out next?
Well, afterwards we have to shout out ghost emoji, ghost emoji, ghost emoji, little underscore ghost, ghost emoji, ghost emoji, ghost emoji. So, little ghost, thank you.
Lucas, you forgot the most important part. The ghost emojis are sticking their tongue out.
They are cheeky ghosts. Like they're
little cheeky ghosts.
Tatum, just get in the car.
Little underscore ghost always refer to those just little ghost kamikaze attack ghosts from Dragon Ball Z.
And it's annoying, we can't put a clip in of that because apparently every time like Gotenks use Super Ghost Kamikaze attack, it was known over here as the seizure beam. Because the effects they use for Super Ghost Kamikaze causes seizures, which admittedly is a pretty powerful attack. Why didn't more characters in Dragon Ball use the seizure beam? We greatly respect Little Ghost and their commitment to their branding and theming. We wholeheartedly endorse and respect that. But moving swiftly on, the next person to shout out is another long-time supporter of the content. That is Tinakui Horshata. And they followed up with... This is going to be embarrassing for me. People probably can tell that I'm not a student of language, but Tinakui Horshata, Nikwa, Talax Kali, Wan Nikoni, So Pelatum, To Huantin, Tit Klawma, Mayak Talak Wali, Tika Mati, Tr, Kal Tikilt Yoan. And I don't want to run that through a translator because I don't deserve to know what it means.
Did you hear something?
No.
Did I?
I don't know.
It is one of those things I think Cole probably deserves for inciting the challenge of come fuck us up.
Yeah, I did invite our audience to submit names that'd be difficult for us to pronounce for their own amusement. So, Tinakui Horshata, I greatly appreciate that you've continued to do that. And you, as well, they shift up their name each and every month, so I can't learn the pronunciation, or even the dog shit pronunciation that I use. But yes, thank you for supporting us for so long, even though I continually butcher your name in the outros to our videos.
Yeah, I think I have a little bit of an easier one to shout out this time, which is Split Scream, and they've the additional little Easter Island head at the end of their name today, so I appreciate that.
It is my understanding that the Easter Island head emoji is used to portray someone who's super stoic and badass.
Oh, right, okay.
Like, do you know, like the Chad meme? Like, people always like when you got like super strong jawline and like, you know, handsome features like I have. Like, you just like post like loads of Easter Island head emojis underneath.
Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah. But
I sure hope that people don't watch this far into the video. I'm like, no, you don't, Karl. It's like, it's a joke. I'm being self-depreciating.
Yikes! Squidward, you're even more handsome now!
But moving on, next person shout out is another long-time supporter who's kept their name very consistent. The only thing more consistent than their support has been their dedication to the name, Rosalindis Memphis. And in that vein, I will continue with my commitment to try and find a song with the word Memphis in it to edit in with your name. I have yet to find one that doesn't get these shout-outs copyright struck. I will find one. There is a song out there that the owner of doesn't give enough of a shit about to sweep YouTube for copyright claims.
I had to send you the notification of like, I'm really sorry, Karl. The Nightcore versions didn't make it.
Yes, I initially I put in a clip from Mark Combs walking in Memphis. That got copyright struck. Then I thought, didn't Cher do a cover of that song? Yeah, Cher sent us a copyright strike. Well, hang on a sec. Maybe if I speed up the Mark Combs Cher version, still got a copyright struck. Hang on a sec. And then I thought to myself, surely there's a Nightcore remix of this song. There's a Nightcore remix of everything. I found it. Master Blaster, who did the remix, also sent us a copyright strike. I'm running out of covers of that song to try, but I will keep trying for as long as you're willing to support our content. Thank you, Rosalindis Memphis.
Hell goddamn yeah. And the next person that I have to shout out is Rama Sawatome. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, but yeah, just an absolute shout out to them. And I unfortunately don't have a Sawatome song to put in here as like a clip.
And I'm not familiar with the character of Rama Sawatome, so when I Googled it for last month. Again, long-time supporter. It's appreciated. It's from some anime. So that's cool.
Okay.
I learned something new. So in addition to supporting our content, Ramaso Tome introduced me to an anime I wasn't familiar with, so I appreciate that also. And the next person to shout out is another name I recognise, Kicking Bucket. And Lucas, Kicking Bucket means to shuffle off his mortal coil. What's a character from fiction you think eats shit especially hard? I can put a clip in of.
Eat shit especially hard might be Krillin, but the person that first came to mind was the person that I guess makes themselves eat shit a lot, which was Bakugo from My Hero Academia.
I'm going to put in a clip of that one, orc in Lord of the Rings who gets drop kicked out a window by another orc. Because it's such a random moment, but I remember watching Lord of the Rings and going, hang on, that was awesome. I'm definitely going to find an excuse to put a clip of that in some of my content at some point. So here it is. Sponsored by Kicking Bucket.
You saying, somebody getting drop kicked and eating shit reminds me of Age of Ultron, where Steve, Captain America, just goes fully horizontal.
I will never get over when Steve Rogers goes full pencil and fucking just annihilates that Ultron drone. But, Lucas, who have we got to shout out next?
And Karl, the next person that we have to shout out is Daddy Grunt. And with this being...
To clarify, that's Daddy Grunt.
Yeah.
So do you want to be Daddy or do you want to be Grunt?
That's the real question. Is to me, I think at least putting a clip from Jingle All the Way of just Arnold Schwarzenegger being the daddy.
Okay, and then can I put in a clip of Arnold Schwarzenegger who is your daddy and what does he do? It's not a tumor.
I have a headache.
It might be a tumor.
It's not a tumor.
December-worthy clip of Arnold Schwarzenegger being a daddy is just Jingle All the Way, where he is the daddy.
Yeah, my favourite thing about that film is, Arnold Schwarzenegger's head is so big, he wears, the martial arts belt his son gets around his head and it barely fits. Like a belt designed to go around, a child's waist for martial arts. Arnold Schwarzenegger can barely tie it around his massive fucking head.
The fact that people just treat that dude like he's a regular suburban dad are not Mr. Universe.
Never forget that in that movie, Arnold Schwarzenegger Shin Shoryukens a fucking reindeer and sends it through the air. But anyway, last but not least, we have to shout out Be of Awesome, another month, another zesty expedition. Can you say this one 3 times fast? One smart fellow, he felt smart. One smart fellow, he felt smart. One smart fellow, he felt smart.
Which I do want to let everyone know that was Karl's second take, because, that was actually difficult to say.
In the rehearsal, I did it first time. I did it first time without mistakes in the rehearsal. That's 2 out of 3. Fuck you. We're done. Thank you for supporting the content. We'll see you all next month. Have a great new year. Great Christmas. Whatever you happen to celebrate. Just make sure you go out there and have a great time. Spread some cheer, some joy, some good times, as we try to do this year.
Hell, goddamn yeah.